With just one more month left to go here in the regular season, it is all hands on deck for a potential playoff run looming for our Miami Marlins. We are in season number 4 of the series, wrapping up the month of August, and it was a pretty challenging month for us, and understandably so, because we played against some really good teams here in the month of August. We played against real contenders like the Braves, Rangers, Phillies, and Rays, some of the best teams in baseball. As it stands now, we are comfortably the top wild card in the National League. We're 7 games behind Atlanta for first place in the division, but we do hold the number 1 spot pretty convincingly over the Dodgers and the Phillies. We lead the Dodgers, who are the second wild card, by 6 games. So right now, we're in a very comfortable spot, and as long as we don't play too poorly, we should be able to hold on to that position. Hopefully we can play well enough to challenge for the division, but it's going to be a major challenge because obviously Atlanta's really good. The offense has cooled off here in the month of August. Woody Landry has finally hit that second-year wall. Brian De La Cruz has cooled off. Luis Robert has cooled off. We are seeing guys like Nick Fortes finally start to turn it around, but for the most part, the offense has had probably their worst month of the year. And then pitching. Obviously, the big storyline here is the Cy Young race with Edward Cabrera, who for the first time all season is in first place for the award. He's looking at probably 5 or 6 more starts this season, so he's still going to have plenty more opportunities to continue to prove himself as the well-deserved winner of the National League Cy Young Award. And then obviously the bullpen has been quite solid as well. We've got a big 4-game series here against the Philadelphia Phillies. This is our final series of the year with the Phillies on the schedule. So obviously we would love to finish off strong, and we just had a 3-game set in Philadelphia a week ago, and we only ended up winning one of those games. We played in the last one, losing it 2-1. So I simulated the first 2 games, and unfortunately Joe Shearer, one of our relievers, gets hurt in the first game. So we're going to not only bring up Steven Alez, but I want to actually see what he can do in the starting rotation, give him a couple of starts. In the second game of the series, Luis Robert broke his arm. He will likely miss the rest of the regular season, and he very well could miss playoff time. That's not good news at all. Obviously, the big issue with Luis Robert throughout his career has been his durability. He has now played 7 full seasons, and he's only played over 100 games once, that being last year. He's had an up and down season. He hasn't been horrible, but I wouldn't say he's lived up to expectations, especially considering he's probably going to finish by playing under 50% of our games. Kevin Alcantara will be called up to replace him. He has not been playing well in AAA, but he was doing pretty good in the big leagues before we sent him down. His numbers in the majors are actually better than they were in AAA. So not only do we have 2 guys get hurt, but we lose the first 2 games of the series, and that'll bring us into Game 3. We've got Edward Cabrera on the mound against Walker Buehler, so I figured I would pitch in this game with Edward Cabrera, now in first place for the Cy Young. I wanted another opportunity to use him here at home in the 3rd game of a 4-game series against the Fightin' Phils, who are currently one of the wild card teams in the National League. Could this be a playoff preview? That is certainly possible, with these 2 teams currently slated to make it in as we take a look at both lineups. The Marlins mixing it up a little bit. Kevin Alcantara making his first big league appearance in a couple of months. And here is Edward Cabrera, the National League Cy Young frontrunner. He's 16-2, 1.85 ERA, 1.08 WHIP. He leads all major league pitchers in home runs per 9. And he is second in the National League in pitching WAR as he strikes out Bryce Harper to retire the side here in the top of the 1st. Let's take a look at Walker Buehler. His previous start was against the Miami Marlins in that 2-1 Phillies win, and he ended up pitching quite well in that game. He's had a very good year. He, of course, started in the All-Star game for the National League as he faces off against Brian De La Cruz, who singles into right. The last time that the Marlins faced off against Buehler, which again was in the last episode, Buehler had a no-hitter going through 4 innings, so it's nice to see the offense getting going early. Jazz Chisholm takes a walk. That's a tough pitch to lay off. It was kind of in the strike zone, but the umpire is going to give him the call. Now there's 2 runners aboard here for Woody Landry. Full count. He'll take a walk as well. Another tough pitch to lay off. The one issue that Walker Buehler had in his last start was the walks, and that appears to be an early issue today. Bo Bichette with a weak grounder over to short. Turner's just going to get the one out at first. He didn't want to risk trying to get the double play, and because of that, De La Cruz scores, and it's 1-0. That'll bring up Jesus Sanchez, who's one of the few Marlins hitters who's had a good month of August. Pops it over to third. Bryson Stott will make the play. The Marlins do score a run, though. They lead it 1-0. Trey Turner opens up the top of the second with a walk, and obviously the name of Trey Turner's game is his speed. Liner to first. Woody tags Turner. That's a double play off the bat of Nick Castellanos. A double play from Woody Landry, and now Edward Cabrera will look to make it through the inning against Rhys Hoskins. Got him looking on the sinker. Great pitch by Cabrera, showing off his signature as we go into the bottom of the second. Kevin Alcantara batting in the designated hitter spot with a single into left center field. Kevin's played pretty well at the big league level. I'm happy that he's back up here for the final month of the regular season. He very well could earn his way onto the playoff roster. That is assuming the Marlins do get a playoff spot. Luis Arraez goes down looking, and Buehler makes it through the second. Bryson Stott leads off the third. He'll go down looking on the sinker as well. That's Edward Cabrera's favorite pitch, certainly looking like it. Ho-Yu Lee grounds it up the middle. Arraez will make the play. That's 3 no-hit innings from Edward Cabrera, who looks dominant per usual up to this point. The NL Cy Young favorite looking to part early. Bottom 3, Brian De La Cruz takes a walk. He was the initial run to score, and we'll see if the Marlins can potentially drive him in again. That'll bring up Jazz Chisholm now. Chisholm lines this one into right center field. That ball will one hop off the wall. De La Cruz on his high horse. He's going to head home. It's an RBI double from Jazz Chisholm. De La Cruz scores his second run of the game, and the Marlins lead it 2-0. That'll bring up Woody Landry. He's hit the second-year wall. He's had a pretty rough month of August, looking to rebound. Instead, he swings at a knuckle curve in the dirt. Nice pitch by Buehler. That'll bring up Bo Bichette now. The count is full. We'll see what Bo can do as he will take a walk. That's another free base runner for the Marlins. Runners on the corners now, 2 away. Big opportunity for the catcher, Nick Fortes. He's behind 1 and 2. Lines it up the middle. Turner makes the play at short. But the Marlins score another run thanks to the RBI double by Jazz Chisholm. Into the fourth, Justin Crawford looking to lay down the drag bunt. Yandy Diaz, barehanded throw over to first. Crawford's trying to get the infield single on Cabrera. Not going to work out. That'll bring up the center fielder, Brandon Marsh. He hits this one high and deep into center field. Going to be a tough play for Jazz. And it goes in and out of his glove. The ball bouncing to the end of the wall. And that'll be a triple for Brandon Marsh. Now, I get it. That's a tough play for Jazz Chisholm to make. But he should have caught that ball. As we take a look at the replay, it was in his glove, and it pops out. They're going to call that a triple on the scorecard, ending the no-hitter rather than an error. Bryce Harper takes a walk. Now there's runners on the corners for Trey Turner. Grounds it to second. Luis Arraez looking at turn 2, but Turner is safe at first with his blazing speed. Marsh scores, and the Philadelphia Phillies are on the board. It's 2-1. Big opportunity now for Nick Castellanos. Full count, and he grounds it to first. Hits that one hard as well. Landry tags the base. The Phillies do end the no-hitter and the shutout. They'll bring it within 1. Let's go bottom 4 now. Yandy Diaz is up. Grounds it over to third. Stott deflects it off his glove. Play to first is in time. If only Yandy Diaz was a little bit faster, he would have gotten an infield hit. Top 5. Rhys Hoskins crushes this one into left field. And that ball is out of here. Just the 9th home run that Edward Cabrera has allowed all season. Hoskins with number 21 on the year. We're tied at 2. That'll bring up Bryson Stott. He hits this one over the glove of Luis Arraez for a base hit. And now the Phillies' offense is starting to show up after a slow start. Justin Crawford's up. Grounds this past the glove of Woody Landry for a base hit. Stott looks to score. The throw to the plate is a good one, but it's not in time from De La Cruz. And the Phillies take the lead. It's now 3-2. Brandon Marsh is up next. He'll hit this one into left field for a single. The Phillies are really starting to rock Edward Cabrera, who is starting to fall apart. Big at bat here for Harper. The count is full. First and second. Harper draws a walk and the bases are loaded. So now Edward Cabrera's leash has got to be very low. Turner lines it into left field. Sanchez makes the play. The Phillies leave them loaded, but they score 2 off of a solo home run by Rhys Hoskins and an RBI single by Justin Crawford. Rough inning of work for Cabrera as we go to the bottom of the 5th. The Marlins trailing for the first time today. Brian De La Cruz strikes out on the fastball. Walker Buehler started the game off slow, but I've got to say he really is starting to look comfortable. Now against Jazz Chisholm, he goes down looking on the fastball for out number 2. Can he strike out the side? Facing off against the first baseman, Woody Landry, the 1-2. And he is swinging out of his shoes on the knuckle curve. 3 Ks in a row. Walker Buehler strikes out the side as we move into the 6th. The lefty A.J. Puck enters the game for the Marlins, an impending free agent in the offseason. As Hoskins beats the shift perfectly, that one will probably go for extra bases. Hoskins will make his way over to second with a double, and the Phillies are going to continue to smash the ball. Bryson Stott strikes out, little lefty-on-lefty crime, and Puck makes it through the inning. Bottom 6 now, Buehler's taken out of the game, surprisingly early, and Mick Abel will replace him. Abel's making his way through the inning pretty nicely, but Fortes hits this ball high and deep in a right center field at the track, at the wall, it's caught. That one does not quite have enough power to make it over the fence as the Phillies hold on to their 3-2 lead. Reynaldo Lopez is into the game for the Marlins here in the top of the 7th. He's got a sub-2 ERA and 46 innings of work, having a great year as he strikes out Hao-Yu Lee for out number 1. He would make it through the rest of the inning as we go bottom 7. The lefty Matt Strom is into the game. 3 of the next 4 batters for the Marlins are lefties, one of which is Luis Ariz, who will take his base on a walk. That'll bring up Brian De La Cruz. He has reached twice today as he skies this one into right field, and this one is going to be caught. So Strom gets through the inning pretty easily. Now into the 8th. Lopez still in the game. Harper grounds it to second. Ariz blocks it with his body, but Harper makes it over to first safely with an infield hit. Trey Turner draws a walk. He has reached base 3 separate times without getting a hit. And Lopez is removed. He'll be replaced by Camilo Doval, who's had a great year, 1.86 ERA, sub-.6 whip. He strikes out Castellanos for out number 1. He'll strike out Hoskins on the cutter for out number 2. Can he strike out the side? Bryson Stott is up. He's behind 1 and 2. Got him on the low sinker. 3 consecutive strikeouts for Camilo Doval after checking into the game. It's still 3-2. The Marlins still with only 3 hits all night. The lefty Gregory Soto is into the game for the Phillies. 3.04 ERA. He'll face off against Jazz Chisholm to open things up. Again, the Phillies focusing on these lefty-on-lefty matchups as Chisholm will start with a strikeout. That'll bring up Woody Landry now. He has struck out twice. 3rd time's the charm. Got him on the circle change for out number 2. That'll bring up Bo Bichette, and he hits this one high and pretty deep into right center field. Marsh at the track at the ball. This one is out of here! Bo Bichette ties it at 3. His 31st home run of the year. The Marlins offense needed a spark. They have not gotten a base hit probably since like the 3rd inning at this point. Big swing for Bo Bichette, and we are knotted up here in the 8th. Jacob Berry enters the game as a pinch hitter. He lines this one sharply into center. Marsh makes the play, but still a successful inning with the solo home run from Bo with the flow as we head into the 9th. Hao-Yu Lee takes a walk. Doval, as you can see, still in the game. Now he will be removed for Dylan Tate. The Marlins are trying to see if their relievers can get multiple innings of work done as Crawford is safe with a fielder's choice. Tate gets the one out at second. Crawford safe at first. So that'll bring up Brandon Marsh, who's had a nice day. 2 for 4, couple of big hits. And Marsh strikes out on the sinker. Dylan Tate makes his way through the 9th. We are still tied at 3. Can the Marlins walk it off here against Connor Brogdon? He is not allowed to run this year in 7 innings as he'll face off against the bottom of the order. That includes Kevin Alcantara, who will hit this one into right. His 2nd hit of the ball game, and the potential winning run is now aboard For the Marlins, Alcantara fired up at first base. Yandy Diaz up now, grounds it up the middle. This could be a double play. It's a 6-4-3, and through 9 innings, we do not have a winner. We're going 10. The Marlins thought about bringing in the closer, Devin Williams, here, and that mistake to not bring him in backfires. Bryce Harper homers into center field, and the Phillies lead it 5-3. Welcome into the 10th inning, everybody. That was a quick start. Harper with his 16th homer of the year, and from there, Dylan Tate will be yanked for Devin Williams. The Marlins were hoping they could get a little bit more out of Dylan Tate, and that obviously proves to be a major mistake. Williams strikes out Trey Turner on the screwball for out number 1. He will strike out Hoskins on the screwball as well. Good inning, though, for the Phillies with a 2-run blast by Bryce Harper. And we'll see if Jorge Lopez can close out the game for the Phillies. Philadelphia's won the first 2 games of this series. The Marlins really cannot afford to lose another one. Lopez is 33 of 39 in save ops this year with an ERA just below 4. So the top of the order will start things off for the Marlins. That is going to open up with Arise, who lines it to third. Good play by Bryson Stott for out number 1. Brian De La Cruz is up now. He's not a very good clutch hitter, and he shows it there as he strikes out on the sinker. It'll come down to Jazz Chisholm. He is behind 1-2. Got him on the low circle change, and the Phillies win it 5-3 in 10 innings. I feel like this loss has to be on the offense. I get the pitching wasn't overly clutch down the stretch. Dylan Tate allows the 2-run homer to Harper. But 5 hits is just not enough, especially in 10 innings, no less. We just did not get enough consistency out of the offense. We didn't really hit the ball well when we did get guys on. And we were able to get base runners with good plate discipline today, but the hits just didn't really come. The Phillies' offense was pretty pedestrian as well, but obviously the big homer by Harper really propelled things. Walker Buehler was good. The bullpen was phenomenal for the Phillies today. The only standouts really were Bo Bichette with the big homer and Kevin Alcantara, who had 2 base hits. Other than that, the offense was not great. Edward Cabrera started good, really cooled off. The bullpen was very good, but I guess not good enough to get the win. So we lose this series against the Phillies. We still have another game left to go. We certainly do not want to go 0-4. That would be really bad. And luckily, we end up winning at 8-7 again in 10 innings. The Phillies scored 2 in the top of the 10th. We responded with 3. Tarek Skubal pitched pretty well, and we had 4 homers from Luis Arraez, Jesus Sanchez, Nick Fortes, and Gennaro Miller. So we take 1 against the Phillies, who make up a little bit of ground on us in the wild card standings, but we are still comfortably the top wild card in the NL. If the season ended today, we would play against the Cubs in the first round. We've got a 4-game series against them in Wrigley, so we're going to simulate these 5 games against the Nationals and the Giants, both of whom are pretty bad. So presumably, hopefully, we can win maybe 4 or 5 of those. Since it is September call-ups time, though, we do have to add 2 players to the big league roster. For now, we're going to be adding 2 position players with Ryan Poles and Aurelvis Martinez, both of whom have already played in the big leagues this year. Welcome back, gentlemen. We would end up going 0-5 in the 5 games we sim, getting swept by the Nationals and the Giants. What is happening? The wheels are clearly falling off. We obviously have not been playing well over the last few weeks, but to be getting swept at home by 2 of the worst teams in the National League, that's not good. The Mets, who are currently out of the playoffs, are only 5 games behind us. They are starting to catch up, and it's because we keep losing. So we've got to really perform well here in this 4-game series on the road against a very good Chicago Cubs team. We're going to play this first game, A, because I wanted to get a look at Steven Elez, and then B, we've got to stop the losing streak. I mean, this could be an all-out disaster and an all-time playoff choke if we don't get our act together. We were 25 games over 500 coming into the episode. We were very comfortably holding the number 1 wild card spot, and things could be falling apart fast. The Marlins mixing up the lineup card, just trying to throw stuff at the wall, see if it sticks. And they're going to have to play against Shane Bieber, one of the best pitchers in baseball. 2.81 ERA, 1.11 whip for the defending World Series champion Chicago Cubs. Here is Bo Bichette. Crushes this one into left. Bichette with a clean bat toss, if you will. And the Marlins are immediately on the board here in the top of the first. We just saw Bo's 31st homer of the year. This one is number 32. 420, blaze it, feet, as it's 1-0. Jazz Chisholm up now for the Marlins. He hits this one high and deep into right field. Suzuki at the track, at the wall. It is caught. I thought the Marlins were going to get back-to-back there. Not quite. So that'll bring up Woody Landry, who still is on a big cold streak. He'll take a walk and is aboard now. That'll bring up Nick Fortes, who, again, is one of the few guys actually playing well right now. He's going to hit this one up the middle. That'll go for a base hit. Woody Landry quickly heads over to third, and he is safe. So now there's runners on the corners and 2 away. A big opportunity for Bryan De La Cruz. Again, he's not a great clutch hitter, but we'll see if he can come up big here. De La Cruz grounds it down the line. Going to be a tough play. The throw to first is not in time. Infield single for Bryan De La Cruz, and it's 2-0. That'll bring up Ryan Poles back in the big leagues after a couple of months in the minors. Count is full. And Poles hits this one high and deep into left center. That ball is out of here. 3-run shot for Ryan Poles, the Hofstra alum, with his 3rd big league homer. That'll drive in 3. And the Marlins, whose offense has been non-existent for weeks, has scored 5 runs here in the top of the 1st inning. What a swing for Ryan Poles, and already Stephen Alez has a lot of run support. Alez has pitched in 3 big league games, starting in 1, and he's been really solid so far, only allowing just 2 runs in over 13 innings at 19 years old. He will walk Dansby Swanson. That'll bring up Josh Rojas. Swanson heads for second. He is out of there! Nick Fortes, part-time ball player, full-time sniper. That'll bring up Ian Happ now. He is behind 1-2, the reigning World Series MVP. He will go down looking on the cutter. The 19-year-old Stephen Alez continues to show a calmness, poise, and maturity you don't see from 19-year-old starting pitchers. Elvis Martinez draws a walk. That'll bring up Gavin Lux here early in the 2nd. Shane Bieber, as you can see, really struggling. Bieber fever not alive and well here in Chicago. This ball from Lux will be caught. Great play by Dansby Swanson for the 1st out of the inning. That'll bring up Bo Bichette, who homered in his last at-bat. This one is going to be past the diving glove of Rojas for a base hit. And now there's 2 runners aboard for the heart of the order. Shane Bieber's struggles have continued to where the Cubs are going to take him out of the game after just an inning and a third. He'll be replaced by 23-year-old Alfonso Estrada, a highly drafted player of theirs in the series. We liked him a lot entering the draft. Obviously, we did not end up picking him. Jazz Chisholm, his first victim, as he goes down on the fastball for the 2nd out of the inning, and he would make it through the rest of the frame unscathed. Luis Garcia lines it into left. Gennaro Miller botches it, and Garcia's on his high horse. He's going to look to leg this into a triple. Bad throw from Miller, and Garcia makes it to third with his first triple of the entire season. We'll see if the Chicago Cubs can drive him in. That'll bring up Seiya Suzuki, the Japanese sensation, who goes down on the sinker. Big pitch by Alez. He would make it through the rest of the inning as we move into the top of the 3rd. Estrada faces off against Bryan De La Cruz, who rips this one down the right field line. That is fair. De La Cruz going to hustle, looking to make it over to second base, and he is safe. The rain clearly not making any negative effects for the Marlins offense today. That'll bring up Ryan Poles, who homered in his last at-bat. He hits this one sharply into right center. This one will drop into the gap, making it all the way to the shrubs. That'll score a run. It's an RBI double for Ryan Poles, and the Marlins now lead at 6-0. Poles has already driven in 4 runs today. Gennaro Miller is up now. He hits this one high and pretty deep into center field. This one should be caught, and it will be. Poles going to look to tag up to third. An incredible throw, and that's going to be a double play. Ryan Poles out at third. A great throw from Pete Crow Armstrong to turn 2. And at the bottom of the 3rd, here is Corey Lee. Grounds it up the middle. Going to be a tough play for Bo Bichette, and the throw is going to be a little bit offline. I'm not sure if Lee would have been safe had it been a good throw, but they're going to call that an E6. Pete Crow Armstrong now with a base hit into center field. The speedy catcher Lee advances to third. Crow Armstrong is going to swipe second. And the Cubs open up the inning with 2 runners in scoring position for the top of the order. Swanson strikes out. That's out number 1. Filthy curveball from Steven Alez. That'll bring up the next batter, Josh Rojas. He's behind 1 and 2. He lines it to short, and Bichette will make the play for the second out. We'll see if Alez can take himself out of another jam as he faces off against the number 3 hitter, Ian Happ, who strikes out on the cutter. As I talked about in the last inning, the confidence and calmness that 19-year-old Steven Alez has is so impressive. Let's move into the top of the 4th inning now. Here's Bo Bichette. Hits this one into the right center gap. That one's going to go for extra bases. Bichette going to hustle here. He will look to outrun second. He's going to try to leg out a triple. The throw from Rojas is offline, and that's going to be a triple for Bo Bichette, who is now 3 for 3 today. He is just a double shy of the cycle. And keep in mind, we're still in the 4th inning. He's going to get at least 2 more at-bats to get the cycle. We'll see if Jazz Chisholm can drive him in. He does not. Striking out on the slider. I've got to say, Alfonso Estrada has pitched quite well ever since Shane Bieber came in here and was awful. Steven Alez, speaking of pitching well, he strikes out the former Marlin Rowdy Tellez, now facing off against Seiya Suzuki. He's going to ground this one into right field, hit hard, 106 off the bat. That'll go for a base hit, and the Cubs get a runner aboard. That'll bring up Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Grounds it up the middle. Bichette makes the play. He's going to tag second just in time. That's 4 scoreless innings for Steven Alez, the rookie showing no signs of slowing down. Into the 5th inning now, the bottom of the 5th to be exact. Corey Lee starts things off. He strikes out on the cutter. Great pitch by Alez to open things up. Now against Pete Crow Armstrong. He's going to line this to third. Good play by Aurelvis Martinez. For out number 2, robbing PCA of probably a double. Into the 6th inning now, still 6-0. Gennaro Miller with a base hit into left field. And the Marlins get a runner aboard. That'll bring him back to the top of the order. It's Gavin Lux, who's 0 for 3 today. Hits this one well. Great diving play at second, but Lux is safe at first because Rowdy Tellez was not on the base. Tellez assumed that was going to be a base hit. He was doubting his teammate, and because of that, well, it is a base hit. Big opportunity for Bo Bichette. He's 3 for 3, a double shy of the cycle. He strikes out. Great pitch by Estrada as the Marlins leave 2 on. So as we go into the bottom of the 6th, we will start off with the umpires having a conversation with manager Skip Shoemaker. This game is going into a 45-minute rain delay, and because of that, Steven Alez will be taken out of the game. He'll be replaced by Domingo Germán, the long reliever, hoping to get through the rest of this one for Miami. Great outing for Alez, 5 scoreless innings. I'm confident he could have gone longer, but since he's not loose, I don't want to, mess up his arm. So Germán's day will start off not great as Josh Rojas doubles into left field, and the Cubs already have a runner in scoring position as they try to cut into this deficit. Big double for Rojas. That'll bring up Rowdy Tellez going oppo-poppo. 2-run shot for Tellez, his 30th homer of the year, as the former Marlin puts the Cubs on the board. Since Rowdy Tellez left the Marlins and has signed with the Cubs, he's been a great player for them. Luis Garcia into right field. That one will one-hop off the wall. De La Cruz unable to make the play. Garcia going to look to take this one over to third, and he is safe. Luis Garcia with his 2nd triple of the year, also his 2nd triple of today's ball game. We'll see if Gurriel can drive him in. He hit that ball harder than Domingo Germán hits his girlfriend, as it's caught by De La Cruz, ending the inning. The Cubs do get 2 off of the homer by Rowdy Tellez. The lefty, Braylon Marquez, is into the game here in the top of the 7th for the Cubs. He'll start off against Jazz Chisholm, lefty on lefty. Chisholm pops this one into left, and that is going to drop for a hit. And so the Marlins get one of their faster runners aboard to open up the inning. We'll see if the Marlins can get back on the board. They have only scored 1 run since the 1st inning, as Jazz Chisholm will look to steal second, and he is safe. So now the Marlins have the runner in scoring position. Following pitch, he's going to look to steal third. He is safe. Jazz Chisholm aggressive on the bases, back-to-back stolen bags. He is now swiped 16 this year. Nick Fortes will ultimately draw a walk, and so that'll get a runner aboard. Brian De La Cruz is up now. He's had a great game. He'll take a walk, and as it turns out, Jazz Chisholm did not even need to steal any of those bases. Ryan Poles pops into right field. It is caught by Suzuki. The runner will look to tag up, and he is safe. So Jazz Chisholm will score off the sacrifice fly from Ryan Poles, who has now driven in 5 runs today. Bottom 7, great defense by Aurelvis Martinez off the liner by Swanson as we move into the 8th. Luis Ariz got the day off. He's coming in off the bench, and he's going to make the most of his pinch hitting opportunity as he hits this one into right field all the way to the wall for a double. Luis Ariz only hitting .290 this year. If it holds up, it would be his lowest as a Marlin. Bo Bichette now, remember, double shy at the cycle. That doesn't look like a double, but because Pete Crow Armstrong's going to throw it home, Bichette is going to make it to second safely. Now, unfortunately, I have bad news. The scorekeeper only called that one as a single. Really hoping we can leg out the double for the cycle, but unfortunately it's not going to happen. What will happen, though, is Bo Bichette should be able to score. Woody Landry into left field. This one will go for a double. The Marlins adding to their lead. The offense is back awake. It's now a 9-2 ball game. The Cubs looking to cut into this lead. Garcia grounds it up the middle. 1 run scores, and it's 9-3. Luis Garcia with his 3rd hit of the game. He's had himself a day. Suzuki grounds it over to 3rd. This could be a double play, and it will not. Suzuki is safe at first. Another run scores. It's now 9-4. The Cubs trying to cut into this lead as Gurriel strikes out, and that'll wrap up the 8th. Let's go into the top of the 9th. We'll see if Domingo Germán can finish it off as he faces off against Swanson. The Cubs down to their final strike as he swings and misses on the 12-6. And the Marlins snap their 5-game losing streak. They beat the Cubs 9-4 here in Wrigleyville for win number 1 of a 4-game set against the National League Central leading and, of course, reigning World Series champion Chicago Cubs. The offense has really struggled lately, but they came up big today. Bo Bichette, 4 for 5, a scorer's decision away from getting awarded a double. He also drove in 2. Ryan Poles with a big game as well. He goes 2 for 4 with a homer, and he drove in a career-high 5 runs. The pitching was pretty good as well. Steven Alez was fantastic. This young man is really, really impressive, and if he keeps this up, he's going to stay in the rotation. Domingo Germán was not so good, but it did not matter because the offense built up a nice lead. The Cubs offense played well after the rain delay, but they could not hit off of Alez. Shane Bieber was really bad. Braylon Marquez was also really bad. But you got to give some credit to Alfonso Estrada. He was very good out of the bullpen. So a really nice win for us. We'll see if we can keep the momentum rolling as we play the next 3 games here against the Chicago Cubs. And unfortunately, we would not keep the momentum rolling as we lose all 3. So we take 1 against the Cubs, and within today's episode, we have not performed well at all. We finished today's episode with a record of 2-11. Pretty much any chance of winning the division is now down the toilet, and we are in danger of losing one of our wild card spots. The Phillies are only a game and a half behind us. The Dodgers are only 3 behind us, and the Mets, who aren't even in the playoffs, are 4 behind us. So our once guaranteed playoff spot is no longer the case because we have forgotten how to play baseball here at the end of August and early part of September. And in the next episode, we've got to clean it up or else we could be looking at one of the most unfortunate end-of-season collapses in recent Major League history. The plan as of now is to get through the rest of the regular season in the next episode. That is subject to change. Maybe we'll have 2 more episodes for the regular season leading into the postseason if we even make it, which with how this team has been playing as of recent, I'm not so sure that's going to be the case. I hope everybody enjoyed the episode, though, despite the fact that the team played really poorly. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.